Hi teachers, so I wanted to do a quick walkthrough of Nearpod, a quick little tutorial for you. I know we went through the training with the Nearpod trainer, but in case you want to revisit any of the tools we have available for us in Nearpod, you can watch this video to help you out. So first thing what you want to do is you want to go to nearpod.com and then you're going to log in and you're going to log in with your Google account. So you're going to click your OMSD and it'll take you to your library. So here it'll show you all of the lessons that you've created or that you kind of gathered from the Nearpod library. So it'll always be here for you. The cool thing is you can share lessons. So within your PLC, if you'd like, you can share lessons out to your school library. If you go to search library, you have access to tons and tons and tons of lessons that are already created. They have from kindergarten all the way through high school. We have all subjects here. So they have a lot of cool stuff. The great thing about having our school purchase Nearpod is you have access to so many more resources and lessons than we did previously if you used it with our free account. So if you're searching for like a science lesson, so you can pick science. You can select the standards that you want to pull from. So we can select California standards, science, and then we can go by grade level. So I'm going to say choose 8th grade. And it'll come up with all of the lessons that have been linked for 8th grade using California standards. So it's really cool. They have a lot of great resources here. So you should definitely check it out. So let me go back to my library here. So say I don't want to choose by state. Say I just want to choose for a random lesson. So again, I'm going to go with science and I'm going to click 8th grade. And there's so many lessons that kind of pop up here. But the cool thing is that you can search. So say I want to search for fossils. I'm going to search fossil and I'm going to come up with all of these really fun lessons that you can do with students. So I did this one with my students yesterday and today in one of my classes. So let's kind of take a look at it. So if you click the lesson, you see it says it has 10 slides. The cool thing is you can preview them. So if we go to preview, it gives you a little quick overview of what the lesson is about. You get started with vocabulary, and then there's fun little matching cards that they do. So if they get it wrong, it is red, and if they get it right, then they get it green. I'm not even reading these, but you get the idea. Then the next thing is identifying fossils. So then they would go through as soon as this loads, and they get to choose more matching cards. So what are these fossil types with pictures now? So we have a vocabulary word and then the picture. Okay, so red, and then you can go through and click, and once they get it correct, then it kind of blues them out. And then it has a picture here, it gives them directions, and then there's polls that this one has. So the cool thing is, again, it's already set up for. So here's like SEL in action, right? So it's asking, how do you feel about this lesson? A lot of the new Nearpod lessons have an SEL component in it, so that's great. So yeah, if you'd like to do this one with your students, then you can just go show in my library. And say you're ready to do it in Zoom. So you go to live participation and you can share this with your students in your Zoom. Say you don't want to do it in Zoom and you want to do this as an asynchronous activity in the afternoon with your students, so you can click student paste and it gives you a code. So you can just share this with your students. So if I click here, I click share, I can share it directly onto my Google Classroom. So you can do it with a link, you can share it with a code. I think one of the easiest ways is just go ahead and click Google Classroom, You pick the class you want to share it to, create an assignment, click go, and then you type the assignment directions here and it already gives them the link. The cool thing about sharing directly to Google Classroom is they don't need the code, although if you notice, the code's right here at the end of the link. And they don't need to sign in to Nearpod. If you just share the code with them, they're gonna have to sign in with Nearpod. They use their OMSD Google account, but it does have like a few more steps. So I like sharing directly to Google Classroom. They just click the link and the lesson opens. Now, while they're working, you can see their progress. And when they're done, you can see what they've done. So this is one that my students did. So I'm going to click on these three little dots here. And you can share it with other teachers. You can make a copy of it. But the fun thing here is the reports. Click reports. And you can see what the students have done. So I'm going to click my period 4. And I can see that participation. So most of the questions here, students were participating, they were answering. I do have some things that were skipped, but you can see it gives you a percentage of, the participation. So were they actively engaged in the lesson? Were they actively moving through the slides and answering the questions? So if we look, most of these are 100. We look here, this student here, only 25%. So I could check in with the student and be like, hey, what's going on? How come you didn't finish it? How come you didn't go through the questions? This student here didn't do anything, right? So 0%. So I can check in with that student. Another fun thing is you can look at the questions in the poll. So if you don't remember what it was, you can check it and then you can click to see what the students answered. So here's that SEL question, how confident do you feel? So, I can look to see, so some of these students feel confident about the topic, some of them don't. Here is the draw it. So some of them where I can click and see what their, what their drawing was on that picture. So that's a fun tool. The matching pairs, I can see how many attempts, and we did this in our training. We can see how many attempts it took for them to figure it out. So, 38 attempts, maybe they were just guessing and trying to click whatever. 42 attempts, that's a lot of attempts compared to, there were 10 cards and the student here did, 13 or 23. That seems more like they were really trying to figure this out. So that's the first matching part, and then here's the second one. So again, this one had little less amount of tries, which means that's a good thing because that means they were getting them more right. So there were 5 matches total. So, 5 tries, 6 tries, 11 tries, maybe they're confused still. So the fun thing here also is you can download the report. So you can download it as a PDF, you can share it. So you can share it with yourself, or say you want to share it with a colleague and you guys can talk about, if you did both the same lesson, talk about how your students did versus another teacher and kind of compare where the gaps are. So yeah, that's a lesson that's pre-created for you in Nearpod. Now, how do you create your own, or how do you use one of your current lessons and make it a Nearpod lesson? It's actually really easy. So if you just find any lesson that you've created, so I'm going to click on a lesson I have here. So I have this lesson. I have my check-in form. So here's my agenda. I have a check-in form that students, are going to complete when they check in with me. And then I have a video that I want them to watch, and then I want them to go through and complete, some of these slides here. So how do I make this into a Nearpod lesson? So you're going to go to add-ons. You're going to go to Nearpod, open Nearpod. And then this toolbar on the side is going to open for you, and you have so many different resources available to you. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to add a video. So I'm going to choose here, video. and it's going to bring up a window for me to add a video. Now I can use a video from the Nearpod library, so you can search through there. You can upload your own video, so maybe you did a screencastify of yourself teaching. You can upload it here. I'm going to choose a YouTube video that I have already. So let me go back and click my link. So here's my video link. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to video. And I've already searched this video, I've already watched it, I know it's appropriate for what I want. I'm gonna paste the video, search, and then this is the one I want. So I'm gonna click it and save. All right, so the awesome thing that they didn't have before in Nearpod that I love about the new Nearpod is that you can add an activity. So while students are watching, to make sure that they don't just click through it and, just not even watch the video, what you can do is you can add an activity. So say, right here. So say here I have a question I want to ask. So I'm going to add an activity. You can do an open-ended question, or you can do a multiple choice. I'm going to do a multiple choice. And you can ask any question you want. So I'm going to say, what is it called when you undo a term from an equation? And you can add your options. So you can say the inverse. You can say moving it. And then you can add more answers. You can say the opposite. Okay. So once you have your question and your multiple choice options, you're going to click the one that's correct. So it's called the inverse operation. And then I click save. All right, so now when students are watching the video, they have a question that when they get to that point, the video is going to pause and they're going to have to answer my question. So I can do the same thing for another part. Say on this part, I want them another multiple choice. So I want to add another multiple choice question here. And then I can say, there is no multiplication or when there's no operation. Shown, what operation will you use? Okay, so part of this video was saying, you have 3x equal to 15 when you have, what happens when you don't see adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing? What operation are you doing? Are you going to add? Can you subtract? The correct answer is multiply. All right, and then, I'm going to click multiply because that's the correct answer and save. So you can add as many, questions as you want, and then you save the activity. And then now you see you have in your slides, you have this second slide that is created for you. And students, when you push this out to students, they'll be able to watch the video and answer the questions. Okay, now another fun thing about having the Nearpod account for our school is you have these simulations, which are awesome for math and science. That I've kind of only played around with those two for now. But you can kind of search here by category. So I'm going to choose middle school math. They have all these really fun different simulations. I'm going to choose, since this is about equations, I'm going to choose this one here. And so students can go through these, the simulation, and they're going to be able to solve and balance their equation. So I'm going to kind of go back and let me preview it for you. So before you add anything to a slide, make sure that you preview it. I think that goes without saying. You don't want to just add something and not really know, what it's going to ask students to do. So if you click it and you click preview, it'll come up and you can try it out and test it out yourself. So we're going to be solving for x. I'm going to click the first level. So I look here, and then so see we have a scale here, and it's all about balancing and scaling equations. So how do I solve for x? Well, I need to do the inverse of 6, of multiplying, so that's dividing, so I have to click dividing, and then I want to go here till I see 6. See, there we go. So then I can go to the next one. So it has a bunch of different ones that, students can go to. Too easy, they can go to a more difficult level, right? They have variables on both sides. So again, this is just a math example, but you see they have tons of different ones. They have science that are really cool. So it looks like they just have math and science stuff for now, but a great option for online learning. Doing math and science can be quite a challenge. So here's another great tip for you. Okay, so after they do that, say I want to do a matching card with them. When I've done this in my class, students love the matching pairs. And you can make it, some of them, a little bit easier, some of them more difficult. You can add instructions here. So I'm just going to say match pairs below with the step to solve for the unknown. Okay, so we're going to add a pair. So you can add an image if you'd like. So say the earlier example, we were doing fossils, right? So we have like a vocabulary word and then a picture of the type of fossil that we find. If you're doing history, you can do, vocabulary word and then some image of, whatever it is, whatever topic you're teaching. If you're doing PE, this would be a kind of a fun thing we can do. If you're doing a nutrition, you can add pictures of, lots of different content that you're teaching your kids. I'm not going to do an image. I'm just going to do text. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to write an equation, 2x plus 5 equals 19. Oops. And then I'm going to write its pair. So its pair would be the answer. So what I want students to do here is I want to tell me what the first step is. So first step, and then I would say subtract 5 from both sides. And then add another pair. I'm going to do another one. I'm going to say 2x equals 10. And the step here would be to divide both sides by 2. And add another pair. I'm going to say, let me see, the equation I did before. 2x plus 5 equals 19. And now I'm going to do the second step. So I'm just going to do those for now. I can preview them. So this is kind of what they would look like. Here are the directions. You can pick that little arrow to bring the directions down and back up. So if I click here and this one, notice it's red because that's wrong. Here, divide both sides by 2. That's green. You want to make sure it works. Here and say here, that one's good. Okay, there we go. So that's how you do a matching card. So we're going to save that, and then as it's saving, it's going to add another slide to your PowerPoint, your Google Slides here. Okay, say that's kind of all I want for this lesson. When you're starting with Nearpod, I would suggest starting slow. Don't, add too much into it at first, just because, you want to get the kids to have the hang of it. So one fun thing here is this time to climb. Kids love this. It seems like elementary and like they wouldn't love it, but trust me, they love it. Last year when I did this with my kids, it's kind of like a mini little Kahoot and they go crazy over it. So I'm going to ask a question like, what is the inverse operation? Okay, so doing the opposite. Adding, solving for x. Okay, all right. So you can, you can add images too if you want to instead of typing in. So you can ask the question like, which fossil, which type of fossil do you see here? And then you can add an image. So I'm going to say, okay, that's the correct answer. And then click save. And then it'll create a little time to climb. All right. So here we go. And another thing I like to do at the end is I like to do a little poll. And I just like to, at the end, ask the kids, how did you feel after you did this lesson? So I'm going to say, rate your comfort level with this lesson. I'm going to say a 1 is, I'm confused. 2 is, I'm starting to understand. And I'm going to do 3. You can, again, customize this however you'd like to. But need more practice. And 4, I can teach someone else. All right. So then here you can just write your options. Here's a 1, 2, 3, and a 4. All right. And then you hit save. And it'll create your poll for you. Okay, so there we go. So now when I go to so I can click save. So say I'm done editing this, I can click save, go to Nearpod, and then it'll open up my lesson for me here in Nearpod. Okay, so it might take a little while to save there, but just give it a minute. Okay, so let's preview it. So this is what it would look like. And again, it gives you all the same options, right? You can do a live participation. I can add it to the school library. I can do student pace. It's up to me. So I'm going to preview. Here's my agenda, and then students will be able to click here. Here is the video, and here's the question that it'll ask the students. Here are the simulations, that students can work through. And here are, those matching parts. Okay. And then here is the time to climb. So sometimes I like to do this in the beginning, at the end, kind of to see, or the middle, see what they know. So there's the question. And here's my poll. So comfort level, I got it, but I need more practice. Okay, and then that's it. And again, if I want to share this in a Zoom, I do live participation, and I can push the link out to my students. Or if I don't want to do that, what I can do is I can share it with my students via Google Classroom. So go to Student Paste and push it here to Google Classroom. Pick your class you want to add it to, type in your directions, and there you go. You have a Nearpod lesson. Fun, interactive for the students. So hopefully, I know this is taking a little while here, but hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully, you try Nearpod out. If you'd like me to help you create a lesson, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you create a lesson. I'd be happy to go through a lesson with you if you want to kind of test it out with me before you do it with your students. Let me know. I'm here to support you. All right. Thank you.